How are we all going? Yes, we are live on the Phantom Cave studio right now. We are live in the Phantom Cave studio right now, and on this week's episode of the Enthusiast, a huge, big new update on the Phantom 2024 video game, and heaps more in this week's episode of the Enthusiast. It's going to be mad. It's going to be awesome. So let's get into it. And as always on the channel, like I haven't really, in the last couple of weeks, I haven't been on this channel for a good while, and to say that there's a possibility of me returning, yes, there is a possibility of me returning, and yes, there possibly is a possible chance of me starting and doing some more comic book reviews because I have been, before we get into the news, I have been sort of thinking about different ways of how I could do different things and different ways of how I could do different things on the YouTube channel. Like for this show, for instance, I could be doing it could be a live show instead of me having to spend uh, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, Monday night, and then Tuesday afternoon making the show. So it's still going to be pretty damn cool. I may still be on this channel. I I think I would like to start returning and doing some more stuff with the YouTube channel again. I'm just trying to work a couple of things out as well. And in this week's Few Publications news, this week Few Publications have published the second part to The Kiss of the Devil, a new story by Peter Anderson and Guyan Carlo Caracazzo. I have read this story. And I thought the story was good enough to be good. Like it was a story that it had two parts, and the first part appeared in the 75th anniversary issue, a few publications 75th anniversary issue, and I think I made a community announcement about that Phantom comic on what I liked and what I didn't like, and I might actually talk about it coming in the next couple of weeks on the YouTube channel. It might be on this show. It might be on this show. We'll just have to see. But there was a second part to this story, and it has been published. It has been published in the last couple of weeks by a few publications, and I was very intrigued where this story was actually going to go. I was very, very intrigued how this story was going to progress, and I think it very much it ended well. I think it ended well with the Phantom going up into the sky like he's got a jetpack on. Like he's another film noir and pulp hero comic book smashing son of a gun. Like he's up in the air and he's trying to get these two villainous crooks under wraps, but then he still gets them done. He still saves the day. And I thought it was just a very, very good ending to the story. And it had a bit of whimsical fun. It had a bit of whimsical humor in it as well. So I enjoyed the second part of it very much, and the first part was all right, but left me wondering what else was going to come into the second part as well. And few publications have also published Giant Size Phantom number 26 and the Phantom issue number 1953, The Night of the Jesters. The latest issue looks to have another stellar cover, and we will be getting to that cover very, 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 very soon. Because right now, at this moment in time, I still haven't seen the cover. Like it's been like 3 or 2 weeks since the cover and the comic book has been out, and I still haven't seen it. Like I'm looking at it on my decks right now. I can't even see half the stuff that's on this desk, and I can't even see what the cover looks like yet. So we're gonna have a look at that right now, and as always, cheers. No, we're not sponsored by Sweps, but that's okay. So this is a live presentation, a live unboxing of what the latest Phantom comic looks like. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh, this is amazing. And as I said, this is another stellar Phantom cover done by Jeremy McPherson and his colorist Thomas Mason. And I have a feeling of an interesting story ahead. And this just looks amazing. Like every single time I see a Jeremy McPherson story, a Jeremy McPherson cover, it just blows me away. And even when Jeremy McPherson is teamed up with Thomas Mason, when he does his covers and Thomas Mason is included in the coloring, it just brings his art, it just brings Jeremy McPherson's art to another level. It just looks amazing. It just blows me away. Like on the back cover, you've got this big moon in the background, and it just looks, the coloring of the moon just looks amazing. Just so beautiful. Just so beautiful. Oh, I'm very, very intrigued to seeing what this story's about. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Oh no, not. So I've made a bit of a mistake here. So the issue number wasn't 1953. Otherwise, it was 1954. Well, I'm wide off. I'm wide off this week. and as I look through this comic, the next comic that will be coming out is issue number 1955, The Demon in the Tower. Ooh. That's got to be that has to be another Norwegian Phantomet and Phantom Men story. That's got to be a Norwegian story. Oh, it's good stuff. Norwegian stories, I always love them. I always absolutely love them. And anyways, and coming up on this week's show, in the merchandising news, as I've said, a big new, massive, giant leap for mankind in the update that will shattering, and will shake the earth for the Phantom 2024 video game. Stay tuned, because the mankind, another step towards the video game has been taken. And we're going to be having a big, massive, shattering discussion about that. In the creator news, Luca Erbetta has revealed a movie-like, poster-like feeling artwork for his next cover, and it looks beautiful. It looks amazing. In the latest edition of Overview City, we're going to be having a look at free Phantom comics, and that will be coming to you later on the show. And we also have the publisher news. Regal Publishers announced new Phantom comics, and also Shakti Comics releases new comic set and covers to upcoming set number 11. And also, Comics Review announced new Phantom cover by Reno maniquis. And next up, in this week's merchandise news, there has been a big, massive, shattering update to do with the Phantom 24 video game case that will be used for the video game case that has just been announced on the last couple of days on Facebook, has just been announced that will be the video game case that will be used for the game when it hits stores next year in June 2024. And there is also jungle whispers going around that there might be a Kickstarter happening at the end of the year, which is very, very surprising. And another thing with this Kickstarter, if this does happen, you could have the possibility of having your name, yes, having your name in the video game forever. Yes, it's awesome. It should be awesome, and it's going to be great. I just can't wait for this Phantom 2024 video game to come out. It's just going to be fantastic with a PH. So, no, sorry, that's a pun intended. That's a pun intended there. In this week's creator news, Luca Erbetta has shown Phantom fans his new Phantom Man cover on Facebook and is now for sale. If you would like to own this beautiful piece that is now on his Facebook page and is also in a few of the Phantom Facebook groups as well, send, you can message Luca Berta on Facebook or check out other pieces at his website at www.lucabertaartist.com. And his art is just amazing. The last couple of years that we've been seeing his art, it just blows me away, some of the things. And his art and the artworks that we've been seeing and the covers we've been seeing that he's been doing for Phantom Men and the Phantom Met comic book series in Norwegian in the Norwegian publications have been sort of like they're sort of like movie posters, and they're sort of a movie poster feeling, and they look beautiful. And you can now watch my show, The Enthusiast, on Encore and Spotify. The Enthusiast, where the passion for the Phantom doesn't waver. New episodes weekly on Tuesdays, and I will also be putting a link to the podcast in the description down below. And now it is ready. It's time for the Overview City. In another news segment this week, I'm going to be having a look at the Regal publishers, The Phantom issue 3, issue 4, and issue 5. Issue 5. Issue 5. We're thriving. Okay. Okay, so we have the first issue that we're going to be having a look at is the Phantom Regal publishes the Phantom issue number 3, and in the last couple of weeks I've been reading a lot. I've been discovering my inner bookworm, pretty much. Okay, so this is what the book looks like. That's the cover, and that's the back cover there. The paper quality is as you expect. As you expect, it's issue number 3, but the paper quality is phenomenal. It's better paper quality than few publications right now. And really, in the last 3 years of Regal Publishers being active and publishing the Phantom, it's so high quality. It's so high quality paper that they're using. It's very higher than few publications by a long margin. So the first story in this book is The Iron Python, and the story was done by Tony DePaul, and the artist was Graham Nolan, and the colors were also done by. No, the cover was done by Abuhiro Lashchako. I just butchered that name. which is not good, but that's all right. In this comic, it's got two stories. The first story, as I said, is the Iron Python, and the second story is the Prince Rex conspiracy. We'll have a look at a few of the panels. This story was very, very intriguing and interesting from the get go, and it's sort of it's very fast action. There's action packed panels nearly every panel you go and look at. And in this story, we find out that there is a mysterious ghost train that is going through the jungle, and the natives don't know what this iron python to say is, and they call in, and then the phantom understands what it is that the iron python is actually a train, and it's got people who look like they've been dead for 100 to 200 years. That's how old they actually look, but they actually have marks and face marks on themselves to hide their identity. And they've been this ghost train is shipping a very, very bad chemical over to the nearby city, over the nearby border of Bengala. And while that's all happening, the train eventually stops, and the people who were wearing the ghost marks are captured. The Phantom wraps it all up, and he sends those very, very bad people on their way back to Ivory Lana. And it's a very, very interesting story, very action packed. And then we also have a story involving Princess Rex. Prince Rex, sorry for that typo. And that's the start of that story there. Prince Rex. And if you don't know the backstory of that, it was the first story that was involving this character was an old Leigh Falk and Cy Barry story. And there's been multiple times over the course of the last maybe 30, 40 years of this character being active in the Phantom comic book universe, the Phantom universe, in the newspapers. There's been a couple of times where there's evil people inside his organization, inside the royal family of Baron Khan, and they've been trying to take over his presidency. They've been take over his kingship, and wanting it all to themselves. So I think one of the things that one of the other stories that was originally and more recently published by I think few publications was a few publications. It was to do with there was I think a count or something to do with the prince, and he was trying to assassinate the Prince Rex. And then there was also one where there was a plane involved. The plane crashes. They don't know where the prince is, and then after a while, the count assumes that he's allowed to take kingship, and he knows that the prince isn't alive. But then the prince comes back, and he's put in jail. I think it's either a count or a duke, something like that. And in this story, the Prince Rex has been given a specific dosage of this disease that has only affected him and two other people. And we find out that there's a couple of these evil people are planning on killing the prince so that then they can take control and bring the old-fashioned ways back into order. And obviously that doesn't happen, and the Phantom makes sure Rex is still ruling Baron Khan. Is still the Prince Rex of Baron Khan. And that is my take on this. This book is very, very well done. It's very, very well done. And I enjoyed this book very much. And it's sort of the same as the other books that we're going to be having a look at. And this book here is one of the only covers that has been done by the exquisite Luca Erbetta. In this book, we are shown the Plutonian pirates and the jungle lesson. I'll run it. This one is the paper quality is sort of the same as issue number 3, and this is issue number 4. That's sort of what the coloring of the first story looks like, if you can see it. Sort of what it looks like. And I won't talk too much about this story because it involves plutonium. No, it's got nothing to do with the Back to the Future. 1 part 1 part 2 part 3. No, it's got nothing to do with that. But then we also have the jungle lesson as well, which is a good story as well. And it's sort of the jungle lesson is, I would say, it's a very, very good story. It's a very, very well written story, and this storyline of the jungle lesson it's already been used once or twice, because I think with a 1950s story called, it has a character called Conley, and I think it's called Conley's Mark, or Conley, because it has something to do with a little kid, and this little kid runs away from his family because he's dropped the laundry that his mother has already done for a wealthy person, and he runs away. He gets saved by the Phantom, and the Phantom sort of, oh no, that's another story, and that's to do with a playmate. That's an imaginary playmate, and I think that's a 1950s story. And the one I'm trying to think of is one that I'm trying to think of is the Crybaby. Yeah, that's what it is. The Crybaby. I think that was made in 1950. Don't don't take me on this, but I think it's 1950, or either 1940s or 1950s, because it was done by Lee Falk and it was illustrated by Wilson McCoy. And that, I love that story. The Crybaby is sort of similar to that story, so yeah. This book is the 2020 Christmas special. It's Regal Comics The Phantom number 5. That's the back cover of that book. And the stories here include the Love Triangle and the Lost Kingdom of Avaria. Both excellent stories. The paper quality in this book by far has definitely gone up to the next level. It's sort of, the paper quality in this book is sort of like a glossy type paper. Maybe that's because it's the 2020 Christmas special. And in the Love Triangle, it's it's again, it has the character of Prince Rex and all that, and he's trying to work out. He's having he's having a lot of trouble with relationships, and trying to think of which person he wants to be with the entire life of his lifespan. And the Lost Kingdom of Avaria sort of is follows on from the last story as well. So all these 3 books that I've just talked about and have looked at are very, very well done books. They are very, very They're done very, very well, and I'm pretty sure you can still buy these books from few publications at www.phantomcomic.com.au. And that's all for the overview city. And you can now are able to get 14% off all things Hermes Press with the code Enthusiast 2022, all in one word. Whether you are looking for something new to read on an afternoon after a hard day's work, or a new Phantom book to add to your collection, there is definitely something for every Phantom fan at Hermes Press. In this week's publisher news, Regal Publishers in the last few weeks have announced that they will be publishing two new Phantom comics, and the covers of those books look amazing. Then this week, and then in the last couple of days, we have also heard that they will be publishing the Phantom issue number 34, and that it just looks fantastic, and it is just fantastic for Indian Phantom fans. I myself have been reading a lot of issues that have been previously published by Regal Publishers, i.e., these three ones, and I plan on reading even more of these Phantom comics from Regal Publishers, and I also plan on reviewing some more Regal comics as well, which will be awesome. And Shakti Comics has also published a comic book set 10, and from all accounts it has been received well by readers. They have already announced plans for set number 11 with covers for each character, including the Phantom, Mandrake the Magician, and Flash Gordon. The covers for the upcoming sets look fantastic. They look amazing. They really, really do. They look amazing. And those covers for the upcoming set have also been shared on my Instagram profile and Facebook. And if you want to go follow us on Facebook and Instagram, you can do so at Instagram at Phantom Cave Reviews, all in one word, and on Facebook at Phantom Cave, and you can see them, and I've shared them. They look fantastic. They absolutely look fantastic. Cheese. Not in any way supported or sponsored by Sweps. Not in any way. It's not. It clearly isn't. In other news, Rick Norwood and Comics Review have announced their latest cover for their comic book series, and this time round it features the Phantom on the cover. The latest cover has been done by the ever so talented artist Reno Maniquis, and it looks amazing. His art is always amazing, and I would just like to say to everyone watching that there is the possibility, as I said earlier on the show, there is the possibility of me returning, and the Enthusiast might be a weekly live show. I also hope you are enjoying this month's theme, October, the black and white movie month, where the past meets today. And you can now follow us on our socials on Instagram at Phantom Cave Reviews and on Facebook at Phantom Cave. And if you would like to subscribe to Phantom, if you enjoy Phantom Cave Reviews and consider subscribing. And what are you enjoying the most about the Phantom at this moment? I really am. For me, I'm really enjoying just reading other Phantom comics that aren't published by few publications, like Regal Phantom Comics, Regal Publishers. I've been enjoying their comics of late, and I will be probably be. I've also, just to tag on here, I've also bought some new Phantom comics from few publications were selling, and they are of regal as well, and they are just phenomenal. They are just fantastic. And as always, keep phantom caving, stay safe, and you'll probably see me next week. Bye for now.